On today's episode, I want to take a quick look at Roblox. They just reported earnings after hours, and unfortunately the stock is down 5.11%, and that's after having a pretty rough day today. It was also down 5.23% by the end of closing. So in today's episode, I want to take a quick look at their earnings. I do want to say there are some yellow flags to keep an eye out. Yellow flags aren't necessarily a bad thing, but it's something investors should keep an eye on. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and let me know in the comments below, are you buying, holding, or selling Roblox after their earnings? So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing I want to take a quick look at is Roblox is starting off with an acquisition. They are acquiring Guilded, which is a platform to connect gaming communities. Guilded is a privately held company right now. And right now, this product will kind of be its own independent group. They're not trying to merge it with Roblox at the moment. And for those not familiar with Guilded, this is pretty much like a Discord style channel where you can kind of create a channel and talk with people with similar interests. Sometimes if you have, for example, a guild in some crazy game, you kind of use this to communicate with each other outside the game. They also have pretty cool features for those kind of using it. They have, like, for example, create events, calendars, documents, and so much more. So I can definitely see the strength behind Guilded. The only thing though is, for me, the acquisition doesn't really click. It clicks in the overall gaming platform, but to really grow that overall Roblox platform, I can't see how this is truly clicking unless they're trying to make something to have outside of the gaming platform. So right now, I wouldn't say this is the best acquisition. It's also probably such a small company that it's not, even if it wasn't the best acquisition, it wouldn't really affect the bottom line in form of balance sheets or anything else for the company. The second thing I want to take a quick look at, and again, I don't think this is a big deal, but KSI recently did a launch party on Roblox for his new CD, and this kind of overall shows just the power of the metaverse. And we've seen a lot of other gaming companies out there kind of do the same, kind of like Fortnite, right? Do kind of online concerts. KSI and Roblox aren't far behind, so it just shows the overall experience of the metaverse and how Roblox is pushing forward that. So now I want to take a quick look at their actual earnings, and I think the best thing to do is really take a look at their presentations. We're going to look at a lot of charts. And again, I am going to talk about some of the yellow flags that I see here, and I do want to say there are a few yellow flags. Again, that's not necessarily a bearish thing, but just my overall thoughts. But before we go there, guys, let's take a quick listen to today's sponsor, a great reason why I'm able to provide so much content to you guys for free. I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. The Motley Fool is a company that provides investing insight and stock recommendations for investors of all skill sets and risk levels. You guys know I love finding new investing tools and resources to help me scout out new growth stocks. And right now I have a discount for one of my favorite services The Fool offers. Through The Motley Fool Stock Advisor services, you get access to ton of expert stock picks. Every month you'll get 2 new picks that are aimed at growing your wealth and to help you realize your financial goals. Stock Advisor's average stock picks have done amazing returns. If growing your money is something you like to do more of this year, you can visit fool.com/Jose Najarro or click on the link below for access to my special offer and decide if the Stock Advisor is right for you. Thanks again to the Motley Fool, and now onto today's video. Alright, so the first thing I want to start off with, if you are watching the presentation, if you are taking a look at the presentation, I would say go to page number 4. And a lot of gaming companies, they kind of really talk in form, instead of revenue, they go with bookings instead. And here in page 4, they explain it a little bit more. But just remember, for me, bookings is the method I follow to really see how a gaming company is going. For example, right, if we see revenue is up crazy levels. 127% this quarter, 140% the previous quarter, 110% the previous quarter. So first, we can see revenue still growing at crazy levels, both year over year and quarter over quarter. They do also talk about their overall main expense buckets. The 4 ways that they kind of expense are using money right now is cost of revenue, developers exchange fees, personal cost excluding stock-based compensation, and certain infrastructure, trust, and safety costs. And overall, I want to say there's no really major flags in any of these right now. If we take a look at percentage of bookings here in developers exchange fee, it's been pretty much in the high teens for the past 2 to 3 years. The only one I want to say is kind of giving some form of yellow flag, I want to say, is the personnel cost. and this is excluding stock-based compensation. And we can see in the past 2 quarters, this has actually increased compared to percentage of bookings. Everything else, certain infrastructure and trust and safety, this is kind of still staying within the same levels for the past few quarters. So overall, nothing too crazy in that regards. But then if we take a look at bookings, we saw revenue grew 127% compared to the same time last year. But unfortunately, booking only grew 35% compared to the same time last year. And I do believe this is one of the major impacts affecting Roblox earnings right now, is the overall, not a slowdown in booking, but not the high growth. So we can see bookings, right? We can still see it's up quarter over quarter. That's good to see, but it's, I want to say it's not that big of a jump compared to last quarter. Obviously, even the 35% growth compared to a year ago, Roblox sometimes is kind of looked at as a high growth stock. So seeing bookings only grow 35% and quarter over quarter only increase by about, I want to say, $12 million. Something investors should keep an eye out. And I agree. I have to say bookings is probably the most important metric to look at when looking at gaming companies. If we take a look, net cash flow provided by provided by operating activities is also up. Right now we can see for the past 4 quarters it has been kind of sitting within these levels. So again, not much growth compared to a few quarters ago, and compared to a year ago, obviously we're seeing some strong numbers. Regardless, yellow flags. Okay, there might be a bit of a slowdown happening in Roblox, but we can see this company is still making a lot of money from its everyday activities. Next, if we want to take a quick look at some of their other metrics, daily active users is super important. So again, previous quarters, this has been growing at crazy levels. Again, right, COVID happened. A lot of more people were kind of working from home, or kids were kind of staying at home. So you usually saw that growth in daily active users by crazy values. This quarter, it only grew by 29%. Again, that's still strong growth, a yellow flag. At the same time, we have to remember, world is opening back up. So a little bit less screen time happening right now compared to the same time last year. So it's still kind of bullish for me, in my opinion, to see that growth. But at the same time, we have to put it as a yellow flag that, hey, growth is kind of slowing down right now. Is this just going to be a yearly thing right now, as it kind of does that rubber band effect that we see in a lot of other social platforms, a lot of other subscription platforms kind of see? If we take a look at daily active users by regions and age, I really like to see this, right? It shows us who is bringing up the real, I want to say, users for Roblox. We can see United States and Canada only grew by about 5%. Europe only grew about 19% compared to the same time last year. The biggest growth around for Roblox right now in forms of users, I want to say, is from the APAC region. This grew 57%, and the rest of the world, which grew 63%. Rest of the world includes a lot of Latin America, a market I'm very bullish in, and we can see that growth is still pretty much there. By age group, they also saw growth in almost all age groups. Under 13 grew by 20%. Over 13 grew by 46%. So a lot more older I want to say an older fan base is now entering into Roblox. I want to say that is great news, right? Because I want to say the older fan base has more money to spend, and is probably will do good for the overall bookings for Roblox. Now, if we take a quick look at hours engaged, again, some more green flags. It grew 13%. Again, that's a green flag and a yellow flag. It's still growing compared to the same time last year, even though last year was a super strong year for the company, and it is growing quarter over quarter, but we can see that growth is kind of slowing down right now. So there are some yellow flags, and definitely a few reasons why I understand this stock price seeing that kind of returns after hours. Overall, I do want to say this is more of, if you are an investor, do you consider this more just being a slowdown because last year was such a good year that is kind of cooling off right now, but the growth will continue next year? And that's where, if you are that style of investor, maybe Roblox doesn't seem too bad. If you're really looking for some strong growth every constant quarter, Roblox is definitely throwing some yellow flags at the moment. So we can see hours engaged has definitely seen a bit in the decrease in United States and Canada. I want to say US is probably one of the is definitely a country that's really reopening, especially during the quarter two. So seeing that 9%. Understandable, still a yellow flag. Europe was down 2%, but you can see rest of the world and the APAC regions were, the APAC region was up 49% in hours engaged. Rest of the world was up 53%. And again, we can see by age group, hours engaged is up mainly by over 13 group. That was up 29%. So overall strong, I want to say yellow flags, but also green flags at the same time. So for those not familiar, this company's earnings ended in June 30th, but they also share some of the July 2021 key metric estimates, and they're still seeing growth in daily active users year over year, and it's actually up over 8% compared to June 2021. So they're still seeing growth there. Hours engaged is also up year over year and quarter over quarter, and revenue was also up year over year. It was only up single digits quarter over quarter, low single digits at that. So again, it's kind of showing that, hey, a lot of investors were really seeing Roblox as a true growth stories. Right now, it's still showing there, but I want to say it's not the same growth story seen before. Finally, I do want to say another main reason I believe this company saw a big impact today is the company posted a 35% rise in bookings like we saw, which was about 665 million. Analysts expected somewhere between 683 million, so it did not meet expectations. Overall, Roblox, I want to say, is still making plenty of cash, still growing at attractive levels. It's just not that huge growth story that everybody was looking at about a year ago. But overall, company is still showing, in my opinions, nothing too much of a red flag. There were definitely some yellow flags that I talked about, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I just wanted to share my overall opinions. Take care, have a good night, and see you next time.